Hey, what's up, guys, in podcast land? This is Cryptic Heartland Podcast, episode 116. I'm one of the hosts, Leo Fernandez. And, of course, up to the top, we have Jason Roberts. Down to the bottom right, we have Dan Gallagher. And then also, we got special guests today. We got Apex Paranormal. You guys are mostly based out of Overland Park, Kansas City area, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Apex Paranormal out of Kansas City, we'll say, and up to the top right is Shannon Johnson, and to the bottom middle, kind of between Dan and myself, is Ed Louder, Grandpa. I'm just kidding. So we were having conversations off air.
Can't lie, kind of true.
I had to. My bad. Nonetheless, welcome to the show, guys. Happy to have you here. This is your first appearance on the show. Hopefully, first of many. We hope so. Hope we don't scare you guys off right off the bat. So
we don't scare easy, so I think you're good.
Good. I was gonna say, if you scare easy, you're in the wrong field, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Let's see here. I'm just trying to watch. Okay, there we go. Everything looks good on our end. Hopefully, the people at home can hear everything. So, if not, hit me up and I'll make some adjustments on my side. Otherwise, let's have some fun, guys. We got 2 hours to have some fun and talk about whatever goes. And hey, let's have at it. So, who wants to jump in the deep end first?
Go for it, Eddie.
Oh, wow. Man. Well, I was like 2 hours. Wow. That's a long time.
I got told you, we'll stop constantly for breaks and stuff like that. No, I'm kidding. Whatever you need.
Well, I was reminiscing today a little bit. We've been at this 5 years. And just a little history of us, Apex. We started out as three individuals together. Sean Holland, myself, and Eliza Buchholz, and all in the mental health field. And we just started talking about paranormal stuff. Mainly it was me and Sean in the beginning, to be honest, and just chatted, in between seeing clients and things like this and what's fascinating. And then it culminated into Eliza finding out that we share this. And we went to Belvoir Winery a lot. And that's the first time we ever tried to get any evidence at all with recorders, just running around the winery, talking to open spaces and recording it and seeing if we got any voices back. And lo and behold, it took a while, but at 3 or 4 trips we did. And then I couldn't explain that. And that was the first, EVP I ever got. And could not explain this. It was only one word, but it was, I know it wasn't me. It wasn't any interference. It wasn't any contamination. And after that, I was hooked. And that was kind of the same way with Sean as well. And then we went to the Missouri State Penitentiary. And that's when Eliza kind of got involved with us. And I don't think I don't know. I think Apex Paranormal would be something else if it was up to me and Sean. Eliza gave us a lot of organization. Really was like, we've got to form a group. And we started buying equipment after that investigation. We also met 3 girls in the dark out of St. Louis on that investigation. They have been with us and inspired us and also teamed up with us a lot in a lot of our early times and even now. And it's just been a great trip along the way. And a lot of evolution in 5 years and 51 videos on YouTube, because I counted them today.
Very good. That's awesome. That's a lot of videos, yeah. Because as you know, it's kind of difficult to have to go through all the hours of evidence and videos that are recorded and then try to put something together, a good product. We've done it too. Over the years, whether it be from the podcasts we do to just evidence we present to our clients, and yeah, it's not easy, man. I feel for you guys.
And Shannon came on, I guess, probably year 2 when we started getting a little more organized, and she was our greatest find ever for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I ended up going through like websites online because my husband and I were fostering at the time, and our foster son was kind of into paranormal stuff, but not really. And so we thought, well, we'll go to Belvoir because we heard it was haunted, and we went into the abandoned part of Belvoir and brought a recorder, and the experiences that we had there were intense and nothing that we could explain. Like, we were hearing little kids in there. We were hearing little kids running around and yelling outside, but there was no kids around. We ended up having something come home with us too, which was interesting. So I had said, oh, well, maybe we should find a team that we can join like a public event with, or maybe they'll let us go and investigate with them. So I went online, just started searching through teams, and I found Apex. And believe it or not, what made me choose this team to reach out were their pictures, their original like bio pictures. And I said, this has got to be like the greatest bio pictures I've ever seen. So what started out as I want to reach out to do a guest investigation quickly turned into, I know my shit, I know how to research, and I would be a great asset to your team. And I had an interview with Shannon and Ed, and it went really well. And then I was supposed to have another one, didn't work out. So then it turned into a working interview at Melbourne Manor. And that's where I was born into the team, was at Malvern. So I was like hired that night, and I've been with them since.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Sorry, I'm trying to adjust some things behind the scenes.
Yeah, if you can survive a litmus test at Melbourne Manor, your first time to really do organized haunts, pretty good. We like it. So.
Yeah, it was my first event ever at an extremely haunted location, the first big one that I've ever been to. And I remember being in there and I thought, oh, this place is cool, because I'd seen it on TV. And I remember walking in there and just kind of getting a feel for the place. I walked upstairs. I kid you not, I was in there maybe 10 minutes, and I went to one of the rooms in the blood hallway, and I got growled at. It was the first time I ever experienced getting growled at ever. And it was right in my ear, and I took off running outside. And they had cameras set up. So I said, if anybody sees white legs run really fast past the camera, that was me. So needless to say, it was pretty interesting that night, but it was a lot of fun, and it's been interesting ever since.
Sometimes you forget that there's cameras everywhere, and so
Yeah.
I mean, it's captured some of our best moments too. Trust us.
Yeah, the one thing I love about our teams when we investigate, it's not really like what we catch on camera. It's most of what we catch on on recorders.
Oh yeah.
Because like the stuff, the conversations that you have, and the things that happen when you guys are just hanging out. It's funny at the time, but then when you're going and doing reviews and you re-listen to some of those off-the-wall moments, you're just like, what happened? How much were we drinking? Yeah, it's great.
Sometimes.
Yeah, we had one of those kind of moments when we accidentally left one of our recorders at a site that we did an investigation, and the owner picked it up and carried it around with him all day long in his pocket. And he was going to the bathroom. He was having conversations with his wife, stuff that we didn't want to hear, and yeah. So we learned to really make sure we keep our gear and do a check at the end of the night. So, yeah, the bathroom parts were like, oh my God, what are we listening to?
Wow.
Right.
But you got to listen in case you hear an EVP, so you can't turn it off.
I know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. We usually have someone passing gas in one of our
You're right for that right away. We would have been doing this.
Yeah, I was gonna play that clip, Shannon, of you getting scared
Yeah,
on
there's some
location.
outtakes.
Where
Our other member who's not here, we won't name him, but he's famous for that. And I have the growly belly. It's constant. Like I don't know. It doesn't matter where we eat at.
Oh yeah.
There will.
Oh,
Oh, we lost Ed. We
I
lost
don't
you.
know.
Uh-oh.
There you are.
Lost you.
Oh.
Last thing we heard was the growly belly. It doesn't matter where we eat, and then you went away. Are you still there, Ed?
Yep, he froze.
Uh-oh. Ed's frozen in time. Interesting. Everybody else is okay. I don't know. There he is. He's back. There he is.
There we go.
Well, back. Okay.
It was the demon stomach there.
It was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we often have to make sure that's not any kind of growling or anything for real.
You know, we can also relate to that. We have a guy on our team who has the same similar issues, and his name's Jake. So we call it the Jake break, and it's been caught on camera many a times. So we can relate, definitely.
We have a lot of camaraderie and a lot of fun. We really do as a team, but very serious when we're doing evidence. No one runs out of the room now. We all run towards things, and so yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, we can relate to that too. Yeah, I always preface it by saying, you know, a sane person would run away from most noises or whatever, but for some reason we always run towards it, which is fine.
Yep.
That's why we do this. But yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, like I said, it sounds like we share a lot of similarities as far as teams go. We've been around since 2007. So yeah, we're kind of old too for a while, and yeah, we've been in a couple different books and on local broadcasts and whatnot. But yeah, it's just been a fun ride. As far as the paranormal goes, we've seen some things I never thought I would ever see in my lifetime. So, I know you guys do a lot of like public investigations at some locations. I'll go ahead and let you, if you want to name some of those, I can throw some at you, or you guys can just throw them at me, whatever you want to talk about. It's all fair game.
Yeah, so we had originally acquired the Beta Mansion in St. Joe. So that was our first beginning of our haunted home away from home, and spent a good 3 years building up the mansion and really getting it known to what it is today. And it's been one of our best haunted locations for quite some time. It grew so much and so fast that we had to obtain additional help from another team out in St. Joe, Walking the Veil Paranormal, who helps us to complete daytime tours and nighttime tours, and to let teams in for investigations. And the mansion has blessed us with so many opportunities, and we've grown so fast since then that we've now acquired the Vale Mansion in Independence, which many teams have been trying to investigate for years, and we ended up so lucky to be able to be that team that they had chosen to help them build the history and build the paranormal interest, and to help bring in funds to put back towards Vale Mansion. Then we ended up acquired the Bingham Wagner Estate, and then the Dillingham Lewis Museum out in Blue Springs. So we're staying fairly busy.
Oh, wow. Sounds like it. And I saw that the Beatty Mansion is getting put on hold as of October 31st. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. We're at the end of October. There's going to be one final event there, and that's going to be done as like a farewell event right before we close the doors for some much needed repairs.
Gotcha. Is there a chance it's going to reopen at any time, or is it just once funding comes available kind of a thing, and then eventually it'll come back? Gotcha.
There is a chance. We don't know any specific date. We don't have a set deadline right now. So we're hoping that in time, not too far in the future, that it does reopen after we have repairs completed. because we're really going to miss that place. But yeah, right now, with the doors closing, it's going to allow us to focus a lot of our time on Independence and Blue Springs, because those locations seem to be taking off fairly quickly.
Wow.
So, we want to make sure that these sites are now taken care of while Beatty gets taken care of interior.
Excellent. Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing I always like about when we do our investigations at places. We always give, we charge obviously a fee to get in there, but we always try to get the money back to the building for restoration and whatnot for that reason. Because, we're even lucky enough to be able to come into these places, and that's our way of saying thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that we love about it is, a lot of the public don't take too much interest into history of certain locations. And so some of the places like Bale Mansion or Bingham Wagner or even Dillingham, they're not generating enough interest because it's not the history that people want to know. It's, well, how haunted is it?
Always.
So what's cool is for us to be able to go in there and to not just tell them, well, this is how haunted it is, but telling them those stories also generates that interest in, well, if it's haunted, then how is it haunted? And then they want to learn about the history.
Yep.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And see, that's what kind of got me into the paranormal, not just the fact it's paranormal. I love history. So if I get to go to some place, let's say from the 1800s or earlier, that's amazing to me. And we're talking to somebody from, a while back that can confirm it possibly by saying their name or, showing themselves on camera. That's just the added bonus. But I love history.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why I love going out to Dodge City and doing everything that we do out there. I love it.
Definitely the old
It's
West.
like stepping back into the old West and seeing things behind the scenes that you normally don't get to, and that guests don't get to, when they're just going around the museums, but we get to because we're investigating it. So much fun.
Yeah.
History was kind of like a side thing for me. I was after the paranormal fascination of everything that I just couldn't explain this. I'm still largely skeptical. After you've seen so much stuff, you're not skeptical, but you should be objective. I feel like I still have that. And then the history just was an interest. It was just more and more of fascination. Places that I would not have seen in my life if I didn't have this interesting hobby. There's no way I would have stopped at certain places and then got to spend the night there at a lot of places, or spent a long time interviewing people and then spending the day there. Never would have stopped in these places at all if it wasn't for this awesome hobby that we have. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't ask for a better opportunity. Like I said, just to even see the buildings. And the thing I love about it is you get to see things from a different perspective that, especially around here in Wichita, where we're based out of, I never realized there were so many underground tunnels to these buildings that, you drive over every day on the roads, and no, these are connected for different reasons. One place is the Orpheum Theater here in Wichita. It used to run a bunch of dance hall bootlegging kind of thing underground, and as the cops were coming in the front door, the bootleggers and everybody else, the party people would go out the back door and under these tunnels, and we had no idea they were there until we investigated, which is just mind-blowing.
And the Broadview Hotel as well.
Right.
The tunnel that goes underneath the river over to the Delano area. That's amazing in itself.
But yeah, had we not investigated, we may never know.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. In any of these locations, what has been something that has stuck out at you or stuck out in your mind as far as the most memorable? Maybe maybe it was seeing a full body apparition or a certain EVP that gave you confirmation, or anything that stands out in your mind, if you want to talk about it.
Eddie, you want to start?
I don't know. I was, yeah, okay. There's been a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Because I almost wanted to talk about scary kinds of things that happened.
Perfect.
and stuff. Me and Shannon were doing a public investigation, and for the record, I have not seen a full-bodied apparition. That's to come for me. That's what I really want to see. I have not seen that. And I'll tell you a little bit later about my idea about paranormal research. Is kind of like, and how your group evolves and your interest evolves is kind of like bass fishing. So I'll draw an interesting parallel later if you want to come back to it. But we were doing a tour there, and we do Estes session, where some of your listeners know it's where you're blindfolded and you've got the SB7 rolling, and it's directly in your ears, so you can't hear, and then the host will ask questions, and you will get the answer over the SB7. And if this jives, well, maybe we're having some kind of communication. So it's kind of a thing that we like to use a lot, and getting answers and direct answers to questions. We also talk about historically based questions. We love to ask historically based questions, or questions that, would have an inside nature to the people that maybe lived there or something like that. But anyway, on this particular night at Sally House, and we have had our nights at Sally House, and I'll just throw this out there that Sally House is a place that we vote on back and forth of whether we want to go back again or not, because of so many interesting things we've had that happened there. So this particular occasion, we're doing the Estes session. I'm asking questions, and, it says my name. Well, once you've been doing this for a while, sometimes that happens from time to time. So I let that go. And I was at the top of the stairs, and there's two bedrooms, the kids' room and the main bedroom. We had two different people each side, and the other person said my name. And I'm like, okay, all right. And still not just taking it all in. And going on with more questions, and then Eddie this. And I'm like, wow, that's 4 or 5 times now. This is kind of weird. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit at this point. And so anyway, we go downstairs. I bring the next people up, asking questions. Shannon's with me, says my name again. Totally different group of people. I'm like, oh, this is weird. Totally, different group of individuals. This is weird. So lo and behold, it says this about 8 or 9 times. And, I'm kind of getting a little freaked out. Shannon can tell. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go downstairs for a little bit. So I go downstairs and I watch on the monitors, which is great if you have a group of people. Everybody huddled around the monitors to watch other people get scared. It's a brilliant tactic. So that's what was going on with this Estes session. So I sit there, nothing about me at all, nothing at all. The group comes down. We put 2 more people upstairs. And I said, I'm not going to go upstairs. I'm kind of done with this. Wow, that's, said my name a lot of times, kind of making me feel, a little freaked out. Mm-hmm. So Shannon goes back up. We start doing it. About 4 minutes into it, I'm like, you know what? I'm just spontaneously going to walk upstairs and see what happens. Nobody knows anything about anything. So literally walked up the stairs, and when I got to the top stair and I sat down, one of the people said, he's back. Wow. Like that, through the SB7, because that's what the SB7 said to say. And then the other person in the other room said, Eddie's back, just like that. And man, I'm still kind of getting a little bit, of the shaky kind of stuff right now. And it went on to say my name about 18 times, 16 to 18 times that night.
Oh wow!
Now we went ahead and spent the night there at the end of the thing. But man, that is really freaky. Having different people do different things, and that was totally spontaneous, and I felt like totally intelligent and kind of mind blowing. So that's mine as far as scariness goes.
Yeah,
it's pretty personal.
Frank's box works really well. We do it. Or you said Estes box. We call it Frank's box. Same thing, kind of a thing. SB7, noise canceling headphones, that whole thing, and then somebody's yelling out questions that they can't hear. And I love that call and respond kind of thing. Response, you get some good answers that way.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
You ever had it call your name out before?
Oh yeah.
Yes, a
Yes.
lot.
Yes, sir.
16 times in one night?
No,
I've never counted.
I wouldn't say that. No,
Yeah, there were four.
maybe
I think
once or
we-
twice. you
Yeah,
know.
we had 4 or 5 people involved, in that whole rotation, and I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, all right, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. And then when I hit the top of the stairs and it goes, he's back, and then the other person said, Eddie's back. I'm like, whoa. I mean, but that's
That's
not
pretty
the only time I've had my hair raised in Sally House.
What hair?
Hey-o.
Wow.
I know.
Well, I was a little bit late today because I was trying to set up in here and going, all right, God, there's glare in my head
God.
the entire time. Doesn't matter where I put anything, I'm still going to have the chrome dome.
You need a
So
makeup,
I just let
makeup
it slide,
person.
man.
Makeup
Just let it go.
out of your head. That's okay. We got a couple of those on our team too. So, Dan. Anyways.
I have hair. Can't see it.
Just on your face, but yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I got hair too. Look, big beard. Okay. Anyways, Shannon.
So I would say one of the out of all the places we've investigated, I've had some really good experiences, and what's really interesting is the different types of equipment or forms of interaction that each location has with us, because you go in with the mindset of we're going to use all this stuff because spirits know how to use it, or if they don't know, they'll figure it out one way or the other. But then you find out when you're investigating that's not the case, and that every place does things differently. So like at Dillingham, it's fairly new, it's rarely investigated, and when we first investigated Dillingham, we didn't get a whole lot of interaction, which is okay. I mean, that was to be expected because it was fairly new. But then I had gone in and investigated on my own one night just to see if I can get any type of interaction. And I didn't get a whole lot upstairs. However, I did see shadow movement, and I did do a live video. And a couple of people that were on the live video had seen a shadow figure or a reflection of one come from this, I think it's like the dollhouse or something. It's a little like case that's sitting next to the dollhouse. So that was really interesting. But downstairs in the basement, whoever is in the basement thoroughly enjoys using a spirit ball and an SB7. And it was so cool because being down there, I was hearing somebody walk around upstairs. And then I had said, if anybody's here, I have a spirit ball here. I have one over here. I also have this SB7 that you can interact with. And my other favorite piece of equipment that I always use is my music box. And I have found out that Dillingham doesn't really care for a music box very much, but they really love the SB7. They love being able to talk and to hear themselves talk, and when you react to how they're responding to you, they'll also start doing other things in the basement and upstairs while you're in the basement. And it's just so cool to really feel the house come alive. I was there with Corn-Fed Paranormal, and I was investigating with them, and we were in the basement, and while the spirit ball was just consistently going off, we were getting responses from the SB7, and then we were hearing what sounded like hard boots walking around upstairs. It was really cool. At Vale Mansion, Sophia is one of my favorite to interact with, and she loves the music box. So we always use the music box in her room. And it's odd to say, but she is a pleasure to interact with. She really is. She loves talking to people. She loves having attention. She loves communicating. and she definitely loves playing with that music box. So it's really cool to just sit and interact. She used a lot of yes and no responses with the music box. The first time we ever investigated, we had Pam there, and she is with the board. And we had a voice come through our SB7, and we believed it was Sophia because we had asked if she had committed suicide or if she just took too much morphine unintentionally, because she had passed away from pancreatic cancer. So it is believed that she had committed suicide by overdose of morphine. But when we had spoken to her, she had come through the SB7 saying that it was on accident. And there's been more than one occasion that she has said that. And so that's pretty cool. It's really cool to hear stuff like that. Elijah had an experience in the basement of a really big, like, buff guy in the basement, just kind of moving back and forth. We think that maybe he was a patient down there. But he saw, like, just this full figured person just standing there, like, puffed out, just trying to really intimidate him and another friend of ours that we had investigate with us to leave the basement. So we've had some pretty cool experiences at a lot of our locations.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Some Beatty Mansion ones. Oh my gosh, Eliza singing her name out. Eliza sings a lot in Beatty Mansion. We'll catch a lot of different singing, but one night when she sang her own name, and this is not an EVP. This is a disembodied voice.
Oh, nice.
We're all sitting there and we just full on hear this.
Sing it, Eddie.
Well, I'll do it. Well, it's very much like this. It sounds just like this. And if you check out our video, it'll sound just like this. It's like, Eliza. Like that.
Hey! Making his national singing debut. Nice.
It just freaked everybody out, and we're like, for a couple seconds, nobody said anything.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, what the heck was that?
Sure.
Beatty Mansion, very first day ever there, when it was in February, when it was the very first investigation ever. We got a full sentence disembodied, gosh, another impression here. But it was an old lady upstairs that said, won't you take me home? Like that.
Oh, wow.
And it was just kind of, Beatty Mansion has been one of the most impressive places. And I think we get spoiled from being there because we get so much evidence. There's so much activity, and it's weird to have your own place and to walk in there and have the keys to it and go up there by yourself and things like this. So that's a whole interesting thing. Those are some amazing, I thought, kind of moments of us getting full sentences and things like this. Well, a lot of paranormal teams have been to Beatty Mansion. A lot of interesting things have happened. There's a lot of seasoned paranormal teams end up leaving. So it's a pretty intense place. We're going to miss it a lot. I'll miss it a lot because I was there when we first got access to the whole place, day one, many years ago. So.
Oh, I completely understand. We've had a couple of those over the years too. One being here in Wichita called the Forum Theater. Same thing. Owners gave us the keys. Said, hey, just make sure there wasn't any kind of production of a play going on. They're not working there or something, and you guys can come in anytime you want. You guys can do, same thing you guys do, kind of a public investigation where guests come in and whatnot. And same thing. They end up, because of costs, end up selling it to an actual church, and it's no longer available to us. And it was one of the most haunted places I've ever experienced, especially being in Wichita. Just I've seen the full body apparition. We've heard children, because it used to be a church and a school, a grade school, back in the early 20s, and the pastor that was there had left back in the early 30s, and he died in Louisiana in the 60s. Well, that's who we were interacting with a lot, was the actual pastor who came back to Wichita somehow or some way for some reason. And that's one of the first full body apparitions I ever saw with my eyes. It was this pastor, and just dressed in a white button down shirt, collar shirt with a tie and glasses and slicked back hair from that time era. Never knew what he looked like until till maybe about a year or two later, as the place kind of had a mystery behind, like a mysterious background, as the people that had it last just up and left one day, left plates in the sink. There was hymnals in the pews and all kinds of different stuff, just weird little things that it's like somebody just basically up and ran out kind of a thing. But about a year or two later, after investigating, we were there a lot of, like you guys said, a lot of time, invested into this place. Somebody had came across a book of some history about the place finally, and they were showing it to us, and we were looking at it, and I go, "Oh my God, who is that?" And they go, "That's the pastor that was here that we've interacted with." I'm like, "Oh my God, that's the exact guy I saw that was there, full body apparition wise." But yeah, it's just crazy to see all that stuff. You have some great interactions, and then one day it's just, for whatever reason, taken away. And in this case, it was sold because of cost and whatnot to an actual church. But so yeah, I can relate to the Beatty Mansion as far as you guys, losing a place, not losing a place, a place kind of that you investigated so often that has to step away from. We've had that from personal businesses to businesses to personal homes. We had great places that are just wild, and then something happens, the family moves, or whatever reason, and we lose those places. So it's an unfortunate part of the downside of this business, because you get attached to some places, and it's not always a given, unfortunately. But you guys have quite a few places now, even more now, on the books that, it sounds like you are going to be able to build that relationship with also. So I'm looking forward to hearing those stories and seeing the videos. And now you guys do also the Apex Chronicles. I've started watching, and you guys are doing those more often. I know, once again, I know with the video side of things, it puts a lot of effort into it just for filming and then, putting a good product out there. It's tough, but you guys do a fantastic job on those too. So who started those actually?
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see how far we've come from watching our YouTube videos of just our evidence reveal, and to be where we're at now with really getting into turning each of our locations into an episode. It's really cool. I mean, we have talked about wanting to really branch out and to essentially just create our own, I guess, production, and to watch it come to life it's pretty cool. Like I'm loving it. I'm totally digging it. It's awesome.
The thing I like about that is
I think it's been an evolution as far as our group goes, a lot, because it is a lot of work, and it's almost like, there's part of us that felt like, wow, we're not just investigating, we're emphasizing this production thing now. And well, yeah, we are, but I mean, we're still going after evidence, and that's the main thing, of course. But wow, to see to put out a product there that is kind of entertaining to watch, but also hopefully fascinating, and learning a skill, learning different kinds of things, I think, and then looking at bigger places, to go to bigger places. And we have so many planned for this year and then next year as well, going to more famous places kind of thing, or unknown kind of places as well. So I like our evolution as far as what we're doing. In the beginning, I got to be honest, I was kind of like, well, we're losing the ghost hunting, aspect. But boy, now I love what we do. It's pretty interesting, but a lot more work. It's a lot more work to do all the way around. There's a lot more camera shots and different kinds of things, and now I'm flying drones and all this kind of stuff. And so it's fun. Now that's kind of a fun hobby for me a little bit, to do that. And Shannon and I both do a lot of the photography kinds of stuff for it. and both enjoy that so much. Again, being at these places that we get a chance to investigate at and touch, and it may not last forever. It's a cool thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What I was starting to say was also too. Plus, that you guys get to do it the way you want to do it by being behind, in charge, kind of a thing. Behind the scenes and getting your video how you want it. Because we're doing something similar to that also too. And we got some other things in the works with some stuff that's coming out soon. But we tried the route of doing a actual show. We were getting. We had a guy who worked on what do you call it? Oh, what's the shows? Jason, help me out. What shows were they? I'm drawing blank.
You're right there. You're
I
almost. You
know.
almost
I'm
have
like,
it. American Pickers and Pawn Stars.
Oh yeah, Pawn
and,
Stars.
he was a camera guy for the first season of Ghost Hunters.
Right.
So
Okay.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
tried.
he
Yeah.
kind of knew. He kind of knew his way around it and everything.
Yeah, and
Go ahead, Leo.
I was gonna say we were gonna do that, and then it just became where they had some of the corporate hands come in and say, "You guys need to do this and do that," and it became. I was like, "We're not actors by any means, and it didn't come across as natural, so it just didn't.
Right.
It wasn't very fluid. So we're like, well, that's maybe another time, and we'll just do some things on our own. It just didn't for lack of a better
Yeah.
term, it didn't pan out basically, but. So that's all right though. We're not giving up hope on that. We're still working on it. And we're still good friends with the guy that was doing this. So we're doing some things along the way here. So hopefully one day. But yeah, we're doing the same thing. We're bringing out our own episodes of things. That's why we kind of started doing the podcast this way.
Mhm.
Before it was just a radio show, kind of a record and go kind of a thing. But now we're doing live audio, video, the whole nine, kind of a thing. So it's fun. We love it, and we like this platform so we can talk about anything and everything. It doesn't always have to be paranormal. We talk about conspiracy theories to UFOs to you name it. Sometimes politics, unfortunately, but
Yeah, no problem.
we won't go there today or ever.
That'd be the wrong
Hopefully, because good
political
Lord.
conversation.
Maybe some other year, not this year.
Yeah. No, my ADD would kick in so bad,
Oh,
my
God.
eyes would glaze over, and I'd be off in a different dimension.
You'd be frozen like Ed was a little bit ago. So yeah, you don't want that. No.
Well, as
Speaking
far
of,
as the upping your production, I think the beauty is in editing.
oh yeah.
How well you can edit and put together things and stuff like that. Yeah, everything we do is real. We're not staging anything or
Right.
anything like that. So sometimes it's like, having to put together a sequential kind of story or something that makes sense out of kind of what you do. So sometimes we will absolutely have a theme ahead of time, what we want to do at a place. Sometimes it's maybe to debunk something or to establish something, or, hey, everybody said this and said that, and then no one knows what really happened for real. So let's apply some research and some historical, findings to some of these things. So hoping to bring legitimacy to some things, and also make it fun and catch good evidence along the way. So that's kind of where we're at. I remember looking back at our original kind of stuff. Now I like it. We did a whole lot of things, but I mean, our very first thing was like a blank screen and then go, here is the EVP we caught on the third floor of whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it's came a long way since then. And then just trying to make things more personal, than just a blank screen and here's what we caught,
Right.
so I just love the evolution of it, but this is why we have to have places like that that we invest in, or have places that we, I hate to say it too, that we make money from, because you have to buy equipment.
Exactly.
You have to buy equipment if you're going to travel, and a group that's been around and growing. These are the growing pains that happen, and if you want to go for bigger, more impressive experiences, and I'd like to eventually, talk about this all the time, but the next thing is to international, leave the United States and go somewhere. I'd love to go to, some castle in England, or, Ireland. I think Eliza would say it's got to be Ireland, not England or Scotland. Anyway, so doing one of those big things one day, and just going after some things. So I don't know. That's where I'd like us to get eventually. So
Yeah, definitely. One of our viewers had a question for you, Ed. They want to know if behind your right shoulder, is that a pillar or is that a giant pencil?
it is a pillar. It's a pillar of my bar.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah, it's an English style pub bar.
No, it looks
Downstairs.
fantastic. I don't know why he was just. It's one of our longtime viewers. We call him Captain Carl.
Yeah.
He's quite the jokester. So I just want to put it out
I've
there.
got kind of quite a man cave set up
Hey.
down here. So
That's
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, he definitely does. It's pretty cool.
Sweet. Very cool. No, yeah, I'm with you as far as what you're talking about going, maybe international. My dream is always to go to like Romania and do, of course, Vlad the Impaler's castle, and stuff like that. Dracula's castle, we'll call him. And just, I'm with you on the Scottish castles. I'll do Scottish and Ireland. We talked about Ireland too, because there's so many castles over in England for that matter. There's so many things, so much history there that, man, that place is probably should be just crawling with, kind of paranormal things. Not that the U.S. isn't. It's just, it's the old part of the world.
It's a different kind of paranormal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to go
And,
over there.
Waverly Hills was great, and that was one of a really good time that we had. And it was a huge place. Guy had some interesting things happen there. And that was one of the more famous places that we've been. But yeah, just I want to do more of those 2-day kind of weekend kind of, and that's what evolved into making these things a little bit more of a production.
Sure.
But yeah, it takes more time.
It does. Plus, I mean, like you said, everything costs, money, especially some of these places that get, more famous. They see dollar signs, so it used to be able to get in there for, especially Waverly, a little bit cheaper, and now it's almost
like 1,500.
Yeah. It's crazy how much it's grown, and that's what the ghost hunting shows does for places, unfortunately. Well, even Sally House, I mean, it's not costly, but, when they tried to sell it a couple years back, they were asking, almost $750,000, for it. And it's like, who has that? I wish I did, but
Yeah. That's one thing that with our locations we really wanted to focus on, because so many that do become famous because they've been on TV or they've been in movies or what have you, they really increase the cost for just an overnight. And not even for an overnight, it's just to be there for 6 hours.
Right.
And so you sit there and you think, like places like Waverly, you can't stay the night inside the place, and it's a wonderful place. And I mean, it was a privilege just to be able to walk the halls of that hospital. But we want people to be able to have the opportunity to experience it without having to try and figure out where they're going to come up with the cost to stay overnight or to even investigate for 6 hours. So we make sure that we keep our cost at a reasonable level so everyone has an opportunity no matter what.
Yeah, definitely. Because I noticed even when you guys bring in national acts like the Tennessee Race Chasers recently, I mean, the cost was still affordable, and those are,
right.
big, big time
Yeah,
guys
because
as well.
we want people to come to our events, and we want them to just have a great time. I mean, one of the things I absolutely love about our events is, I mean, with just our personal events or even when we have a celebrity, is we want people to come in and not just, be in the investigation with us, but we want them to be a part of it. And so telling them, hey, it's going to be $175 a person to come to our celebrity event, they're going to think more of the fact that they've just spent a ton of money. And so they're going to expect greatness. And then when they don't get it, they're like, well, I just spent $175 and I didn't get anything out of it. So if you make it more affordable, then they're more focused on the fact that they're there in a haunted location that they've wanted to visit for quite some time with a team and a celebrity who lets them use equipment and really interact in that investigation. And that's the coolest part, is watching people get to walk away with saying, this was the most awesome thing I've ever done.
Definitely. Yeah, and that's what we do too in our public investigations for Road Trip Paranormal, the side of things. We do the same thing. We keep the costs low just for the fact that, and I think the thing that always stands out is people, the public. We always give them equipment to use bar, for the night and stuff. And they can bring their own in, of course, too. But
Mhm.
I've been on, and I've heard rumors of teams that have closer association ties with some bigger groups that don't let you do that. They just, hey, you're here to watch us kind of do some work, and you guys are just for tag along kind of a purpose. You're like the audience, and it's like that's not how ghost hunting should be. They paid money
No.
to investigate. You're there to investigate, as an adventure. Come on, here's some stuff you
Yeah,
can touch. I'll show you how it works.
and you form relationships when you have people, when you give them the opportunity to investigate. Because I mean, they're paying money to not just be in a haunted place, but to be able to have some sort of experience. I mean, Glore is one of our places that we do every year to help them raise money for their museum. And I have shared some of the most awesome experiences with some of the people there. And like one of my favorite places to have a group, and we each have a station. And so one of my stations that I always choose is the morgue.
Nice.
And I will ask a couple questions, and just with those couple questions, it'll start to kind of set the mood. And next thing you know, people are throwing themselves into the body fridges, and they're walking up and down the hall, and they're like, I'm hearing nurses, I'm hearing carts, and it's so cool. And then you have a couple of pieces of equipment that are just sitting there. And so I'll tell them, hey, go use this and go across the hall. I guarantee you'll have some sort of interaction. 9 times out of 10 they do, and they come back saying, that was awesome. I've never had anything like that happen before. It's pretty cool.
That's cool. Yeah, like I said, and that's what we always tell people, because I've been in places, and we'll start asking questions, and they're just standing there. I'm like, you guys can talk. It's okay. You guys pay money to do this. Partake.
You got to get them out of their shell to ask questions.
They're used to events where it's like you said before, it's, I'm the leader and you're the follower, and you just stand there and watch. So they hang out because they're not sure what to do. So once they start to get comfortable with you and to know, okay, it's all right for me to crack jokes or to ask questions, and then it just turns into a great time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. So no, like I said, it's about having fun, but also we take it serious. The same token, it's just
right.
But yeah, because you want them to be entertained, because we most of ours don't really. I mean, we do have cutoff times on some of them, but some of them we just go until last person standing kind of a thing if we really want to. And some people every now and then you'll get one or two people that stick around for the full event, and most of the time everybody else is like, okay, I'm not.
You have to kind of kick them out.
Yeah.
Like 5 in the morning.
It's like, I want to go home. Yeah.
Yeah, we always end our events with doing either deprivation or an Estes session.
Oh, cool.
And it's always the best, kicker for the end of the night. And so many people get so involved, and it's pretty cool. And we'll have a big group that will sit at Nerve Center and watch the cameras. And we got new camera mics. So not only do they get to watch what's happening, but then they can also hear what's going on as they're watching the interaction from the Estes session. So it's pretty cool. I think the best experience we've had doing that so far was at Glore during one of our events in the tunnels. It was really cool.
Nice.
People like to watch other people that came with them get scared. And so that is fun when they can turn the monitor and then see somebody try and white knuckle it for 10 minutes in a deprivation section, and then they hear something behind them and jump up and run out, and we call an end to it, but get them out, of course, safely. But it's entertaining. It's like watching the train wreck kind of fascination.
Definitely.
Cool. And then we let them have free time after that for take any instrument you want. Well, not any instrument, but various instruments.
Right.
And then go around for the hour, and then at the end of the night turn them back in, and there you go. Yeah.
Definitely. We've also done a couple locations where we let you stay the night with us in the location. Not so much like a hotel, that's the obvious one, but we've been in a place out in western Kansas that's a former bank, but it's like 4 stories. So, and the owners are really cool with it. It's basically just the historical museum now, and they're like, yeah, you guys can have it for as long as you want it. So they know we have people to stay the night with us there, and majority of people stay there for the most part, and makes for a long night because we have to drive back, almost 3 hours back. But still, that's okay. That's what we do it. That's what we went out there in the first place for. So, but
We've slept in some horrible,
oh,
horrible
shit.
places.
Not only necessarily slept, just
I think
investigate.
everybody can relate to that.
Oh
you
yeah.
know. What's the weirdest? I'm going to do reverse.
Go
What's
ahead.
the weirdest place you guys have slept at in your investigation?
That's a good one.
The car? No.
Oh, that's one of them. Yeah, the car in freezing cold weather. Yep.
It was. I'm gonna go with Tahlequah, having to tent camp it out there in 21-degree weather with it's a book now, so it's got like some crazy um, stories to it and claims, but we were hearing growls out there in the woods. We were something huge came walking into our campground, leaving prints, huge prints, was messing with our tent and stuff like that. I mean, Leo was awake and he had his tent messed with and saw the shadow from the fire. I mean, this is 21-degree weather. We're tent camping because there's nowhere to go to, because we're off in the woods on a property and everything. So that was probably one of the craziest times we've spent overnight.
And now it's shameless plug time. This is the book right here. It's called The Agony That Remains. And you guys probably didn't realize, but this is from Brandon Callahan from Kansas City. You probably seen him at the KC Paracon. He goes every year also too. But he's buddies with us up there and from Kansas City. And but yeah, like Jason said, we slept in on the hard ground basically in tents and freezing cold. And I don't know, but I'm trying to think if there's any place crazier that we slept. I mean, well, I'll go back to the Forum Theater, here one I told you about, the people up and left. We slept on the stage, which used to be the former, like the altar basically, and there's staircases all up and down each side behind you, and there's also the seats out in front of you, which for the auditorium, it's 2 stories, that part is, and you could hear things just going up and down the stairs all night, like walking, and the chairs moving, and voices, and doors slamming, so... And I'm a light sleeper. Like that's why Jason said I was awake in Tahlequah. But so any noise I heard, I was looking around. What's that? Who's coming at us and stuff. And it's just I didn't get any sleep at all. I stayed up for like 24 hours straight basically because of that fact. And I'm glad I did because I heard some of the best stuff happening while everybody else was sleeping. I'm just watching the monitors because we had the camera set up that way for them to, so I can tell what's real and what's not. But it was a long, tired night. Tired night because nothing was quiet. The activity happened all night basically. So, what about you, Dan? Have you had anything you can think of that we slept anywhere?
Well, I mean, I did stay in the cooler at Glore for almost an hour, and I slept probably 20 minutes in there, maybe.
I guess that counts. Shannon's saying, shaking her head no.
I will lay in there when it's time for me to lay in there, and that is it.
Yeah. Did you have any experiences in there?
I've had guests during our event that had. There was one night, I think it was at my first event there, and we heard knocking on one of the cooler doors, and then we heard it unlatch and open. And then two of the people that were in there, it was incredibly quiet. And then she felt someone grab the bed that she was in and shake it. And the rest of us that were on the outside of the coolers heard shaking come from the inside.
Wow.
So that's why the morgue is my favorite place to be during an event.
Yeah, we, myself and my wife, we had that location for about an hour. Everybody else was scared of it that was on the tour that we were in. So we stayed in there, and of course, I stayed in the cooler the whole time. She stayed out by the embalming table, and we had 2 REM pods out there and a couple of K2s. And I was inside with the my AVP watch and a recorder, and of course a K2. The best thing I got out of the coolers, I had a gentleman kept referring himself to the captain 2 or 3 times in there. So I don't know if you guys have any story on a guy named Captain, but if you guys come across it, you might want to.
Ah,
Yeah, it was kind of interesting down there. So
We have an event coming up next month, our annual event. So I'll have to see if there's there's a captain that comes across.
okay,
we'll ask. Yeah.
yeah, he was a strange duck. I mean, by what I'm getting, I mean I don't think he was quite all there. So he was interesting though. He was in the cooler with me for most of the time. I mean, the K2 was just, going crazy. But
We actually had the opportunity to go. I'm sorry, Dan. We had the opportunity. We were supposed to go as a group to actually investigate Glore, and that's right after that, before we got the opportunity to actually do it, they closed down for paranormal groups for that time being, where they stopped letting people in for a while. Because I've heard the stories as to why they did, but I wasn't for sure. I think actually Dan told us that because he asked when he was there, the people that were running the place, the caretaker or whatever, the curator or whatever you want to call it. But maybe Dan can elaborate a little bit more on that since he was there.
yeah, they were referring to a team that they had out of the Kansas City area.
Not you guys.
That was there about 4 years ago. Yeah, and they were out there, and they were doing a private investigation, not even a public thing, and they were being sarcastic, playing around. They were going over to the fence, taking pictures at the prison side of it. Yeah, and the guard ran them off 3 times.
Yeah, not smart.
Yeah, and after the 3rd time, they told them that they can never come back again, and that's when they stopped tours for a while. So yeah.
But yeah, I was excited to see it.
Ruins it for everybody because that is a good place to go.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, that's what I was excited to see. You guys were going back out there again. I was like, oh, cool. They're letting people back in. You get to go and do the public investigation side of things, which is very awesome.
Yeah, we almost ended up not doing an event at Glore this year just because of COVID.
Oh, right.
So I was going to be super sad because I told Elijah, I said, out of all of our Halloween events, that's probably one of my favorite. I look forward to doing Glore every year. And when they told us last month that they were going to hold the event, I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, because COVID, man, it's been a mess. Just, we all know it canceled KC Paracon, which was going to be a ginormous event this year with everybody who was going to be there.
Yes, that was going to be so big this year. I'm so sad.
I know. We were just so frustrated that it's just like, stupid 2020.
Yes.
Yeah. It's yet another thing that 2020 has devoured, taken away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we try and mask up, socially distance, do everything right. We'll probably have some meetings about how to do this, the best we can as a group. But I guess we've already done one already at Vail with UWC, and so this has been it's been interesting investigating this way too.
Did you wear masks and stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
We socially distance our tables outside during their speaking events, and people wore masks inside. We tried to have plenty of hand sanitizer for everybody, and things of that nature. So
we had a cleaner that I had brought in, and because of course Vail is, you have to be careful with the kind of cleaner that you use. I brought in some of my own non-toxic stuff, and so I made sure to wipe down the railings and the doorknobs and all that stuff throughout the evening to keep everyone safe.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, and Jason can relate to that.
Did you get any
sorry.
People fighting back on it or anything, or did everybody just kind of appreciate it and have fun?
Yeah. Everyone is more appreciative of the fact that even during the times when these locations are closed to the general public, that they had the opportunity to go in and investigate. And if it meant wearing a mask, then it meant wearing a mask. Yeah, they didn't mind it at all.
Very cool.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say Jason found out the hard way too as far as this goes, because he does the ghost tours around here in Wichita for Ghost Tours of Kansas, and they normally do a bus tour, and this year they said no bus. It's gonna be a walking tour only, and so you can keep social distance outdoors and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I don't want to walk it.
Yeah. No
I
kidding.
liked my bus, but okay, I'll do it.
So much
Yeah,
easier.
they closed our Independence and Blue Springs locations until next April.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they can't have any daytime like history tours at all until then, and it crushed them. They're having difficulties bringing in money, and so it's cool that we're able to do these public events and to have it open for investigations, because that's how they're making their money right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Wow.
Well, it hit us hard because we had to cancel all of our events for the year because we didn't know how to go about it. And
Right.
like Dodge City got hit hard with a lot of cases too. So that's where we do a lot of our events out there. So I don't know. I'm ready to go jump back in. I know Leavenworth is ready to have us back too. So we're ready, excited to do that.
What places do you do in Leavenworth?
We were invited to go out there. Oh God, 2018. Just to investigate, to give like this other, like some of the city people some stories so they could do a Halloween event out there. We did the escape room
Yeah, the greater
that has some
greater
tunnels
escape
down
room
there.
of
We did
Leavenworth.
the
The biscuit.
Leo, you'll have to the biscuit. I don't know what it is.
We did the.
I call it the biscuit. I don't know.
We did the theater.
We did that. It was they all have some tunnels underneath it,
Yeah.
like where the city used to be, and then just grew up above it. So it was really cool. And then we did the old theater that's there.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. It's not Ford Theater, is it? Am I making that up?
No,
Okay,
no,
I made that
you're
up.
making that up.
It is now. It's called the Ford Theater, guys. Of Leavenworth.
So the
Look it
old
up.
Fourth Theater there.
Google it.
Yeah. No, so we did. It was just like all along one strip of the street. Really,
Yeah.
we didn't venture too far, but we did all in one night. Just us. It was like 5 of us. We investigated every single location in one night. So it was fun. But now some of the businesses have changed ownership due to COVID and everything. They are running into some issues that they were aware happening downstairs in their basements and stuff. So they heard about us, and so they contacted us and said, "Hey, come back out. Let's try this again." So we're gonna give it a
Cool.
shot.
That's pretty cool.
Have you guys been able to do anything in Leavenworth as a group for Apex?
I'm sorry?
I said, have you guys been able to do anything for Apex out in Leavenworth, like any of those buildings either, or any place like that?
No, I have a family member that was telling me she used to be in the military, and she was telling me about a place out in Leavenworth that is very haunted. I don't want to say exactly where, just out of respect for her.
Sure.
But she is really wanting Apex to go check it out. The only problem is there's restricted access. So it would just be trying. She said that she was going to try and see if it's something that we could do, but it would be pretty difficult. But it'd be interesting to go investigate.
Yeah, because there's two places. I'm wondering if I'm thinking of the same place that you're mentioning. I won't mention it either, but I'll put it in the chat afterwards or talk to you afterwards about it off air. But the same thing. They wanted us to go out there too, but they were doing some checking to see if it's even possible. Because the guy we did the video for, and for the Halloween event, put the information together for. He was the one who's going to check for us because he had some ties to a couple locations. Because there's one major place out there I want to get into, which I probably won't happen, but for the obvious reason, restrictions and whatnot. So, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Leavenworth's is a cool place, and I heard there's even some other places that we didn't get a chance to go to, the closer to the river, that had some interesting things as far as the old underground railroad system down there. So there's some cool spots out there that I didn't know even existed. of course, we all know that Leavenworth was the oldest town this side of the Mississippi. Is that right, or something like that? Am I making that up too?
Are you making that up again, Leo?
Probably. I apparently have a habit of making stuff up tonight. Who knows?
Oh no, you could be right. I don't know.
I figured
On
Dan
that
would,
aspect.
I figured Dan would jump in with that.
Well,
Dan's
I'm
usually good.
fascinated by Dodge City and, of course, all the old West figures
Oh,
of
yeah.
Dodge City and everything like that. So
Yeah, we'll definitely have you come
that's
out
some
with
place
us.
that I would love to do an investigation. I'll just say that maybe next year sometime.
Yeah,
I would love to
Come
do
out
that.
with it.
We'll
Yeah,
bring you
come out
along.
with us. Absolutely.
we love networking with people such as yourselves, and that's why we like having you on the show, because that's one thing we always talk about over the years is there's so much, I hate to bring the word up, Shannon, but politics and what we do as paranormal investigators between groups.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's true.
it's just it's mind numbing that people want to be so necessarily territorial. I get if you have a location and it's yours. Us as an outsider, let's go with, for the places you go. We would never just step all over your toes to get a place. We know that you guys are there at the Vale, at Beatty and everywhere else. We would never do that to you guys. We would probably contact you guys first and say, hey, do you mind if we, or can we set something up with you guys to come investigate or whatever? We even pay come to your events probably. It'd be probably the easiest way. And, we would just work with you and get to know you guys over the years. We would never step on people's toes. And I ran into that all over the state where people are like, because we get into so many locations, they're like, man, there's that one group out of Wichita, whatever, and they just make stuff up. It's like, why? Why does it have to even be that? And that's what I loved about the KC Paracon. We talked to so many people there, like-mindedness, where everybody's just having a good time, and they're there to promote their teams and their places and whatever else. And it's just like you didn't see any of that there at all. No politics whatsoever, as far as the paranormal goes. It's heaven on earth, I guess, for lack of a better term. But yeah, it was fun. That's why we were so excited to come back this year, and then it got canceled, unfortunately. So hopefully next year, when Jason, comes back next year and does it, hopefully it'll be just as big, if not bigger. So we'll have to see. Definitely, I know we'll be back if we can come back. So so it'll be fun.
Oh, we'll be there.
Yeah, definitely. What else we got going on, guys? We got about 45 minutes ish. We can go whenever. So,
Hey, no
keep
breaks
talking.
yet.
I know, Ed. How you doing?
Right.
Do you know you stop for Ed when you take the Ed break?
Oh, I'm good. Well, I'm a little empty on that one, but that's all right. I was going to tell you about the bass fishing
Yes.
metaphor with paranormal research, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, a long time ago, I don't know where this came from, but it was kind of like, this is how we all evolve, I think. That, we get that first EVP, and that's the really cool thing, and then it's like, well, wow, I want to get a full sentence, instead of just a word. Well, I want to get touched by something. I want to see a shadow figure. I want to have, those cold spots around me. And whatever this is, wherever you start, you keep going up to the next. It's kind of like, I show somebody how to fish, and then they catch their first bass, and then they're like, I want to catch a 2-pound bass. Then I want to catch a 5-pound largemouth bass. Then I want to catch a smallmouth bass. Then I want to catch a striper bass,
Mm-hmm.
And so we're always just looking for the next bigger, cooler thing, and the next bigger experience to have. And I think that drives the fascination of this whole thing. And so I equate it to that. And that's kind of how we get into this, to the point we're sick and we're never going to get out of it, and can't leave it if we even wanted to. It just beckons us to keep doing it. And so that's how we kind of fall in love with it. It's like that.
Definitely.
Just an observation.
Absolutely.
No, that's a great analogy
Yes.
as far as when it comes to this, what we do. Yeah, because
It's always what's next. I want the next bigger thing,
Uh-huh.
And mine, full-bodied apparition, or I really haven't seen a definitive shadow figure.
Really?
Interesting.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, Eddie, you did experienced something interesting at our last place, though, that we
I
investigated.
did very much. I don't know if we can actually talk about it or not.
Yeah,
Can we?
yeah. So, well, I'll start it off. Yeah, because it's not going to be in our episode.
Okay.
Not, it got cut.
Well, no, not the. Just let me talk. So.
Okay. You know what? That's time for me to
I was
take a
gonna
little
say,
break. Thank
get
you.
your refill.
So the last location that we were at was the 1885 Garnet House Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I had food poisoning our second night there. So I didn't get to really experience everything that went on that night. But for the first part of it, Saturday night when our whole team was there, we did our own thing for a little bit. And I ended up experiencing something so odd I'd never seen before. It was so bizarre, and I can still see it like it was yesterday. But this, so I'm sitting on the couch and I'm looking into what was once the parlor room, and I see this thing that's about child size, had no hair, no face, and sometimes when you notice something out of the corner of your eye, it just bounces in and out really quickly to the point where you're questioning if you're really seeing it or if you're hallucinating. No, this thing, whatever it was, moved from the back side of the door very slowly and then backed up real slow. And I've never seen anything like this. It was just the most bizarre thing. I mean, it had no face and no hair, but you could see the head and the shoulders and the arm. And I had told Eddie about it, and Eddie experienced the same thing, but later that night and in a different part of the house.
Mm-hmm. Now it was when I'm saying that I'm going to count something as evidence, it's got to be indisputable.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my thing on that. To me, I saw this. I did see it, but I saw it out the corner of my eye, kind of. But what it was the same thing. It was this bald, smallish size head, and I could see the chin, and it just put its head through this doorway and then went back really quickly. And I just don't know. I mean, I saw it, I registered it, yeah, but maybe it's just too much for me to take. Maybe I'm too much of a skeptic, I guess, maybe. But, to me, I want to see something definitively right in front of me, full everything, not a flash. But it was darned interesting. It really was. It made me question that. Now, would I actually go, that's absolutely something that I saw? I'm pretty tough on scrutinizing myself. Or what's what. And I guess I'm the one that, when you do our evidence review, I'm the one that's probably the hard. I don't know. You think I'm the hardest on evidence?
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, not
But
everything's
there's nothing wrong
paranormal.
with that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's
Actually.
okay. We all have different, kind of things, and evidence review is another fun thing to do with a group of people of what goes on and stuff like that, and teasing around, having a good time. And Elijah is the barber of Seville. Do you know why? Because he clips a lot.
He's watching, by the way, too. So I saw him on there.
Well, he clips everything and
That's
then whittles
hilarious.
it down. And I'm the other way. If I clip very few things, and when it's there, I've already whittled it down to wow, this is pretty good stuff.
Right.
So I tease him about being the barber and stuff like that because he clips too much. So, but we have fun with that too. That's another fun thing to do. Looking at evidence, comparing evidence, and I yes, saw that. But darn it, wow, did it really register as 100%? This was absolutely it. I don't know. I still have my questions about it.
Gotcha.
So I'm that kind of difficult when I want to see something.
You got a couple of follow-up
Go back
questions.
over on tape, or stuff that set instruments off and that I felt. That's more tactile experience, and I can jump into that more. But I've yet to see something, full right in front of me, and things like that. So I'm still looking for that.
So you guys
Go
you've
ahead.
never been touched or pushed or anything like that?
Yeah, touched. A lot of times. I wouldn't say a lot of times, no.
Not
but,
18 times?
Huh?
I said not 18 times, like on the...
Not 18 times, yeah, not 18.
On the Estes?
that was, dude, that was the most scary thing, because it was like, it just did it over and over. And then when I was like messing with it, and then, not telling anybody what I'm going to do, as soon as I got up to those stairs, boom, the people reacted, and that's what got it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, whoa, this is intelligence maybe of some sort. Speaking of getting touched, mineral wells, Shannon,
Through what?
wasn't it mineral wells that you got? We were walking in a completely dark room before setup, putting down cameras. Wasn't it Mineral Springs? I mean, in the basement?
It wasn't. It wasn't so much. It wasn't during setup. You and I were. I think you and I were trying to figure out where to go when we were.
We were setting a camera or something in that room, and you got like hands all around you.
Yeah, it was really weird because. So I don't know if you guys have been to Mineral Springs.
Not yet.
In Alton. If you haven't, you need to go. This place is pretty cool. We've had some really good experiences there, but one of the rooms that we went into, it was the ballroom, and Eddie and I were in there, and I think we were trying to figure out where to replace or reposition cameras. And I never really have experiences in the ballroom. Nothing's really happened. And when he and I were in there, I felt someone take my arm. They just kind of glide their hand along my arm and then hold it. And I thought it was Ed, and I turned around and Ed was nowhere near me. And it caught me off guard, because, you have stuff like that happens at locations that you go to and you think this is what I want to happen when you're investigating. But when you're in an area that you've never had any personal experiences at, and then you do end up with one, catches you completely off guard. I was a little startled for a little bit.
You jumped and did a complete 180 is what kind of happened.
So was the camera on at that point? So is it on film somewhere? Are you doing a mid 180 there?
But I don't blame her. I mean, to have like a touch like that, man.
Yeah.
I've been kind of like poked, and you get the spider web.
Oh yeah.
Poke with 2 fingers. That was at Beatty, and it was just on my shoulder, and it stayed there for seconds because I didn't react. I was like, ooh, great evidence. Let's see how long it takes for it to go away. And after about 3 seconds, the pressure just left and it was gone. I didn't see any like indentation or anything like that. But man, that was like pretty impressive. And then I've had a hand on top. Speaking of the bald head, okay, I've had a hand on top of my bald head at Belvoir.
Oh, yeah.
I got to the top of the stairs, and I was just like somebody just put their hand out on the little guy's head, and and that was pretty awesome. So yeah, touches, but not anything like that. I thought you were going to talk about the poker playing, Shannon.
The what?
Yeah, at the motel, or at the hotel that we just did the investigation at. Did you know we played a hand of poker? Bunch of hands of poker.
Oh, well, we can't talk about that
We're
because
sick.
Well, edit that part
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
It's only not live.
We're looking at the evidence of this, but some interesting things happened. I don't want to give too much away, or should I? Should I not? I don't know.
If you're not supposed to, I wouldn't do it.
No. All right.
Because it won't be the hand of a spirit on you.
Well,
It might be
number one-
Eliza.
We can talk about things that get thrown out, but anyway. So there's I play I play poker often in tournaments and stuff like this, and I loved
nice.
it because I won one of my first tournaments at Saloon number 10 up in South Dakota, where Wild Bill was shot, and by Jack McCaw. And so anyway, I was really on this whole, I want to play poker there and stuff like that, and see if I couldn't talk to any guys or anything like that. So Elijah and I, well, we'll just say that we played some hands of poker and some interesting things happened.
Nice.
We're still reviewing that. That's why I was so amazed if it gets cut out. I'm like, what? I mean, I have to call the guy that is the editing department and complain about that. Or drive up to his house in the middle of the night and complain about that.
There you go. Real quick, going back to the 1858 Garnett House? By the way, shout out to Rob Garcia. You said you guys saw something. Was that on camera, number one? First of all, that's my first question. Second of all, so what do you think you saw? Was it paranormal or was it something else?
It wasn't on camera, unfortunately, but I don't know. What I think I saw, and I don't want to give too much out because part of what I think it was will be in the episode, and it was discussed during Allie's read when she did a reading inside the house. But
you're talking about Allie Westbrook. I'm gonna butcher her last name, Westbrook.
I didn't think about what I possibly had seen until the next day when I was really thinking about her reading and the room that she was in when she was doing the reading. And I thought, this makes sense. And I'm wondering if that is what I had seen in the room. And when Ed had described his experience, he was in the location of her reading. So I'm very curious of whether or not that is what we had seen.
Gotcha.
And I know it's kind of vague. It's very broad, but I don't want to give too much away because of our episode.
That's okay. We're sitting on something similar, not similar, but a piece of evidence we've been wanting to show for a while now, but we're creating something behind the scenes like you're talking about, like an episode kind of a thing, that we don't know what we captured either yet, and it's pretty mind-blowing. And it's a place that if you guys ever come down this way, we'll take you to Wichita. We'll take you to this location, and you'll definitely leave with your head, scratching your head basically with a lot of questions, because it's a business, and it's one of those places we have free reign of for the most part.
That's great.
And all that stuff, and we've captured some crazy stuff going on there, and it's always ever changing. Which let me ask you guys this question: so you guys go into the same places a lot, like the Vale, like the Beatty Mansion, things like that, and for the most part the history, the activity, and whatnot, who to encounter most times and whatnot. Do you ever feel like the evidence ever, or the experiences ever changes a little bit? And if so, is that because of all the different teams, guests that come into the location, possibly maybe have some kind of attachments or whatever they're doing to, get the spirits going? Do you feel like you're encountering more and more each day, basically, by going back to these locations? And it's like, wait a minute, this is not what we had the first time. Now we got this random person showing up. Who is this, kind of a thing?
Yeah. We've experienced it more so with Beatty, just because we have all had really good hands into that place for about 3 years. And there for a while, we were interacting with a lot of the same people, but then we did an experiment. It's one of my favorite things to talk about whenever I do a tour with the group. We did an experiment when we spent a weekend there, and our goal was to, invite some close friends and family of Eliza and to have a party for her. And we had 2 people at the cemetery and then 2 at the house. And we had our phones on speaker, and Eddie had said, we're having a party and he's at the cemetery. We're having a party. This is for Eliza. We want to welcome everybody to come to this party and hang out and have a great time. Well, little did we know that we were inviting the entire cemetery
Oh, wow.
to the house. So
Oops.
I didn't say certain people. I just said anybody and everybody, and to come out.
Right.
And, so technically, I guess that's what I did, I guess.
So we ended up with the whole cemetery there. So it was interesting because then we have psychic mediums that walk through and they would tell us, well, there's people here that don't belong here. I don't know where they're coming from. And I'm like, oh, well, let me share some information with you. But then we've also over time had, as you said, other teams come in and they bring in their own attachments and their own energies. And we did end up with an individual that came in and brought in a more negative energy into the house, and that created some darker interactions throughout the house. So yeah, it's Beatty's been different on a consistent basis over the last about a year.
Yeah,
Our other locations, though, we get the same interactions, right? Just for right now. But I feel that the more teams we get in there, the more that will change.
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. It's
I
understandable.
think some of the more consistent interactions and things you feel confident with when you have a place and you go back to it, that changes some. But when there is, like kind of something evil there or something intelligent there or demonic there, it changes, and people can bring that in. And that's what we've kind of found out in that Chronicles episode. That was very much kind of a documented thing. There's other places that are out there that I've talked to that they've had the same thing happen. People come in and do incantations or something like this. You're not watching them all the time. We found things that were there that were used, and then Dan from Walking the Veil Paranormal, witnessed this with this individual that came into Beatty, and then a couple different incidences with this one person and a member of her family, and that kind of spurred us to do the Chronicles episode. And anyway, I didn't mean to do what I did at the end. If you've watched it, it was just something that was spontaneous and that I felt like I needed to do and say. I'm not that kind of super spiritual person, but I am a spiritual person. But I don't know. I just felt like I needed to command kind of a cleansing, of the place, for evil spirits to leave. And I don't know. It was kind of an evolving thing for the whole weekend, and I felt like for some reason to speak up. And I just said, I'm going to pray, boom, and things came out. So I don't know. That, like I said, the things we do are just not planned like that. They're spontaneous. It was very real for me to do that. And I felt a sense of relief, but also, kind of, wow, maybe I shouldn't do that. But I really felt led to do that. And so I think that it's returned right back to, the way kind of it was. We still have groups kind of saying odd things are happening, screams are happening, scratches are happening, people are still leaving. So I don't know. I guess I can say that much. Beatty is still very much Beatty and at this level of what it is.
Definitely. So for the viewers watching, where can they see the Apex Chronicles that we've been talking about tonight?
So you can check out our website, the apexparanormal.com, and that will have a link to our videos. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, Apex Paranormal, and that will have all of our episodes on there, as well as prior evidence reviews that we've done. And we're hoping soon enough we're going to be on a different venue. We're looking for different venues to start posting our episodes on. So we're hoping next year that's going to be our goal
Excellent.
to start having episodes on there.
Yeah, and that's the YouTube channel that has 51 episodes, right, Ed?
Mm-hmm.
52 total from
52.
the very beginning of Missouri State Penitentiary 1, I think. And way on, 51, 52 episodes.
Yeah.
The whole thing over a 5-year period.
Definitely. And the people watching on Facebook also, too, make sure you check out Apex Paranormal at Facebook.com, or I'll do it the official way, www.facebook.com/ or WAC, as we call it in IT world, the Apex Paranormal. I do IT for a living, so it's called WAC. I'm just kidding. But no, that's cool. Yeah, like I said. So, with all the stuff we talked about, scary and stuff like that, what's something, let's say, blooper side of things? There's got to be something out there that one of you guys or all you people have experienced, or we got our own that. I wanted to play the one tonight we talked about earlier, the off-air one, but I couldn't get it in time to get it added to the show. But there's one of Shannon that sticks out in my mind.
Oh my gosh!
You actually have a blooper of your own?
Well, so whenever
we have embarrassing moments all the time. She's not the only one.
Oh, I know.
But
yeah. This last one was absolutely hysterical, and so when we were in the basement and it was me, Tyler, and Elijah, and as I said in the beginning, I usually end up listening to the recorder that has Elijah passing gas. But this go around, we were in the basement and we just finished a really intense session in the basement. And I remember standing there and I am just in the zone, full on, like focused on the moment and trying to get some sort of response. And Tyler farted so loud, I didn't even feel my feet lift off the ground. It was probably one of the best bloopers we've ever had.
It is pretty funny. If it's the one you have on Facebook, it's hilarious because I saw when you guys posted and I died laughing. I'm like, oh my god, because you're all serious and you're in the zone like you said, and all of a sudden this noise comes out of nowhere, dead silence, and you just up and jump and like, what the? And then everybody else just bust up laughing because they knew right away what it was.
Oh, it was great. It was
very
epic.
comical.
Yeah, that's definitely one of our favorite blooper moments.
It's definitely good for a laugh.
Tyler is our newest guy, rookie kind of guy. So that's good to know that he's helping out in that way.
That's how the Densmore. That's his last name.
He contributes more than that. He really does.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
Oh
man.
What
about you, Ed?
I think all the time there's stupid stuff and weird
for
conversations and all kinds of things that we talk about. I've often just wanted to have a total behind the scenes stuff for us, because we get together, we just tease each other, we did a lot of inside kind of jokes, and then every now and then try and scare the crap out of each other. It's kind of fun. You're already at a haunted location, so we've done a few pranks where we try and scare each other too. So that's kind of fun.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, we keep trying to convince Elijah to create just nothing but a bloopers video.
Right.
So at some point we'll convince him enough to do one.
Yeah, we've talked about doing something like that too. Same, just blooper, because one of my experiences was we were at of all places, a business and here in Wichita, and it's kind of a ritzy place. It's one of those places you have to buy a membership to even dine at. It's a steak place and whatnot. But we're investigating, and we go up to the attic of all things. I'm scared of heights, number one, which is strike number one against me. But it's in the dark. It's the owner in front of me. I'm following behind him, and then we have a cameraman behind me. And the owner turns to me and says, just be careful up here. Stay on the plywood. Okay, cool. I turned to the cameraman and said, hey, make sure you stay on the plywood. And I take one more step and crash through the ceiling practically. And I'm like, holy crap.
Oh,
A, I'm in a lot of pain, and B, how much is this going to cost me? Oh my God! And it's all on camera, and it's the guys downstairs. Jason will attest to this. He heard it. He's like, "What in the hell is going on up there?" But luckily, I landed on the ceiling joint, and I fell into their office partially, which is about a 20-foot drop, and I landed on a desk. Otherwise, I would have probably fell the full 20 feet, and who knows what would have happened. You know, it'd have been
Oh my
pretty nasty.
oh, man.
The fact that we can laugh about it now is one thing. What, Jason? What do you have to say? I see you pointing. What?
So it's on video. I know you're in pain and it
Oh,
hurts,
what's the worst pain ever?
but just 1 second you're there, the next second you're just gone.
It's the fact that I turn and say, make sure you stay on the plywood, take a step, no more, I'm gone. We'll have to show it one of these days. Not tonight, but we'll show it one of these days. Because it was painful, a painful reminder. And of course, the bruises on my legs took, weeks to come out. And they would go, oh my God, there's some pretty colorful pictures on my leg, just nasty. So,
Oh man.
yeah, and it hurt for months too, like my hamstring where I was trying to it was real tender. But I'm not the only person that has bloopers. Jason.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Jason gets scared of inanimate
falls,
objects.
right? No
Dude.
falls, no injuries, nothing like that. I don't think. Yeah.
Well, if you do, make sure
I
it's not on
I
camera.
ran a drone into a wall. That was kind of interesting to watch it over and over. The video of that.
Speaking
You're not
of,
supposed to fly drones in the house, kids. But
Right.
sometimes for production value, you try and do a lot of things.
yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of drones, Jason, what about drones that you like? You not remember? You want me to tell a story for you?
Oh, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
So we were out.
Yeah, I'll tell it.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll tell it.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, once again, we went back out to Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and it's daylight. I'm with I'm the shortest person of the group too. So I'm with the two tallest people of the group, our founder and our Bigfooting guy, and we're over by the house where the house in question that we've been investigating and everything. It's daylight. We're just out and about checking out the house, and so we're getting close now. We did see a couple of bees or hornets or something flying around, and then all of a sudden we start hearing this loud buzzing sound, and we're all looking at each other and we're not knowing what to do, and and it gets louder and louder, and so we start like hitting each other and like taking off running, like a couple of like all three chickens running away from this house, and we're kind of like swatting around because we don't know if it's bees or whatever. Then we look up and it's a drone watching us, just like filming us running around like a bunch of chickens, with our heads cut off, not knowing what it is. So we're both like, so then we just start flipping it off, like whatever.
Yeah, this was a drone that was supposed to be filming for.
But we thought it was a
show we
bunch
were
of
trying to
bees or
do.
hornets coming after us, so we take off in the woods, and no, it's just a drone following us.
Yeah. So no bees. Dan, do you have any stories that you have embarrassing moments? Oh, I know one for Dan.
What?
Dodge City. The Fort Dodge.
When I got hit in the head?
Yeah. Go ahead.
That was pretty.
Let's tell your story. Go ahead.
Well, okay. I mean, I got hit in the head.
But why?
Running an SLS camera there, and there was shadows going back and forth between the two or three different hospital rooms, patient rooms, and I'm calling it out, trying to get it to come towards me. Walking down with the I wasn't carrying the SLS. That was Jake behind me. I was carrying a GoPro camera in front of me with the infrared light, trying to get it up closer. And again, I kept seeing it. And then finally I said, listen, I mean, it killed my light, number one. Then my cameras just went off. So I'm like, okay, well, listen, if you're going to come at me, just whatever you got to do. And next thing I know, I mean, Jake sees this light coming out from above me and shoots down and then smacks me in the head. I fall against the wall and I cuss it out. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was wild.
So was that the orb that hit you, or was it? I thought it was a pigeon.
No, the
Okay.
pigeon was upstairs. That was Roth.
Oh,
That was
Rose.
Rose.
I'm sorry. I thought that
I
was.
didn't
I
get no
could tell.
pigeons.
I could tell you. I could tell you this story. I could tell you this story.
The pigeon.
So yeah. So Roth is our comical guy. We pick on him quite often. But Roth is upstairs at Old Fort Dodge, which has no electricity, no water, nothing. He's upstairs and he's got one of the new guys on the group, and he's telling him, hey, act a certain way, talk normal, do everything. Don't scream, don't run, don't do anything, okay? And then he hears something in one of the rooms. So he's like, what the hell is that? So he walks over to the into the room, and he sees that there's a door there, and he's hearing some noise behind it. Well, he goes and opens it up, and this pigeon flies right out of the room, the closet, smacks him in the head. He falls backwards, screaming like a little girl, and runs out of the room, going, "What the frick was that?" As his pigeon's like flying around the room and everything like that.
Plus, as he's teaching
But
the newbie,
It
what
nails
not to
him
do.
right in the head.
You're right. Yeah. So, and that
I don't know if
was.
I should tell the bad incident or not, but we had a bat at Beatty Mansion, and it was like our second time there. I think we were having a pretty big investigation. I think Three Girls in the Dark and Jason was there with us, I think. And so this bat is flying around the front room, and we're like, what are we gonna do? The main room, and it's just flying around in circles. What are we gonna do? And so we're all trying to get it, and there's some net somebody had, and we were thinking about taking the sheet off a bed. And,
Oh my God.
well, this is where it gets ugly. I hope there's no PETA people out there listening. Elijah, the sniper Buchholz, pulls a pillow off of the couch and just waits like an assassin. And here this thing comes, and he just whips it and boom, nails it, falls to the floor, stunned.
Holy
We
crap.
take it outside and let it go.
Oh,
I mean, the guy's got talent. The guy's got skill.
but there's an actual, like, there's a body mark of the bat
There's
on the
a
wall
smudge
of
mark.
the couch.
Holy crap.
There's a smudge mark of where it hit the wall.
That's
Now he was fine. The bat was not.
Sure.
The bat was only stunned. Slightly
Yep.
stunned in a Monty Python kind of way. But he later flew away.
You put that on the Apex Chronicles and say, during the making of this filming, no bat was harmed. That kind of
Right.
PETA.
He was assaulted, but not harmed.
Assaulted. Nice. Yeah, we ran into a couple bats also on our locations. Yeah, they're fun to play with, let me tell you.
Oh, man.
Especially in the dark room,
Maybe.
you hear, what's that noise? And then you see it come flying at your head, through infrared, and it's like, oh my God. Yeah, so that happens.
Or in theaters, you think we've been to theaters and they're flying around in there, and you're like, whoa, what's that? I saw something,
Right.
and then you're like, oh, it's bad.
Oh yeah, you're like, oh crap.
You know,
I'm gonna get,
so.
vampired in the neck or something,
Right.
Or rabies.
Right, well, that is bad. I mean, you can go to sleep there. They can do that funny thing where you don't know that they're biting you, and they're biting you, and you get rabies. So
Let's make sure I have Elijah with
I
us
know.
sometimes.
And he just went off the deep.
So
That happens.
it's Animal Planet conspiracy theory stuff.
like I told you, we talk about conspiracy. Oh, anyways, so yeah.
Well, we've been on the borderline of talking about Bigfoot and a little bit, and that's something that I wanna do. I've done only one kind of comical but half-assed Bigfoot hunts down in Nevada, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
When
Yeah.
we first started, that was our very first thing to really ever do. There's a cluster of sightings there, about 7 years ago, within, I think it was an 8-mile radius. We triangulated, and went down there, and of course didn't see anything, or nothing happened or anything like that, but tromped around the woods. And then we've done one other sighting with, we know a couple people from the BFRO. I can name drop Carter Bouchard, and really good guy, still working, I believe, for the BFRO now. And he does all of this stuff for Missouri. Like if there's a sighting, he's the guy that he's going to, come and interview you. And then, so that's kind of a cool thing. We keep talking with Carter about doing some things like that. And then we know somebody else, as well. I'm fascinated about that for sure. Being kind of living out in the country my whole life. I've never had sightings, but I've had friends that have had sightings before. But it was almost like, are they just trying to pull your leg? Are they full of it? What? Yeah, it's a big mystery to me, but it's something that I definitely want to look into.
If you go a little further east from Nevada over to the Bennett Springs area, I've actually had some activity over there in that area.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm falling back in love with trout fishing again, so now I have a reason to go down south. So you could trout fish in the daytime. You've got your camping at night. You Bigfoot at night, and then you go to sleep and come back.
It's the best.
It's a great. Yep. I mean,
That's
if
perfect.
You can buy it too. Yeah.
I've been there out there many times. I've had like at least 2 encounters of activity that's pretty questionable. So, and I went off into the woods from the trails, and some of the telltale signs that researchers always say, finding their paths and stuff like that. It's there. I mean, it's deep in the woods. There's not many people that go out there. So.
Shannon,
it's pretty cool.
You okay over there?
I don't. Stuff just started to randomly fall on my bookshelf.
Okay. So I'll make sure it wasn't a bat or something. I saw you or maybe a fart or something. I saw you react. So.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here and all of a sudden things just start falling on my bookshelves.
That's awesome.
Don't know why, but okay.
It happens.
It happens a lot on the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially in the studio, we have a lot of things.
Well, I don't know. Her and Eliza are the ones that have the weird stuff in their house. Thank God I've never had that. But I had one moment of maybe knocking at my door at night, but that was the only thing that happened after Malvern. We have a lot of things, Josh heard. We have a lot of things that mess with us from Malvern whenever we go and investigate Malvern and stuff. So
that's one place we need to go up there too.
Yeah.
We haven't got out there yet, but it's on our list. We've had quite a big list that's growing, especially after Casey Paracon. But
yeah, I love that place. It's like every time we go and investigate, it's always something different.
Nice.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever not had some significant amount of evidence. I mean, every time it's paid off,
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys were talking about scary things, and this is so stupid you wouldn't think it was scary. But I think it was the second time we went to Malvern, the attic. The attic is a very interesting place in Melbourne Manor. A lot of things, a lot of noises, a lot of shifting, a lot of movement, a lot of footsteps, a lot of just a whole lot of stuff going on in that attic. And it was probably about 2 a.m, and we were about ready to finish our investigation. And so all day, the attic, the door that leads up to the attic was shut. And so I opened it about an hour earlier, and let everybody know I'm opening it just to maybe change some things around. Or excuse me, I got it backwards. It was open the whole time, and I shut it to change the energy maybe, because that was it. Sorry, it was open all day, and then I shut it. And so anyway, we go up there, we're doing an EVP session, and we ended, and then we're just about to start another one, and we hear like footsteps, but that are so loud and so distinct and so like it's hard sole shoes on that wood. About 5 steps down, thud, 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 like that by the door, and it just stops. And all of us are looking at each other. We're standing like 4 feet away from that door. And so I reach over, I open up the door, nothing's there. Nothing's there. Shut the door, and you can hear dun, 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 it going back up.
Wow.
And it was just a real, and again, opened up the door, nothing's there. We went up, we had meters, we had whatever, couldn't catch any anomalies of any kind. But I mean, that was so damn realistic. And it was, I mean, every nuance, and so scary, no, but damned impressive, yeah. Because I mean, you could hear the creaking of the weight of this thing on each one of the stairs, the sound it made. And I mean, it just resonated absolutely perfectly. This is why we're all sitting there going, what the hell? And yeah, so that was I wouldn't say scared, but I would say amazed,
Wow.
So that place is really cool.
That was at Melbourne Manor.
Disembodied voices,
cool.
A lot of EVP activity and various responses. I've been touched at Malvern before for sure. Yeah.
Nice. Man, yeah, I can't wait to get out there. I know Josh is always there. Sometimes just sitting there by himself, and he'll just do random, cameras or random, live from there, basically. And, he's always having stuff happen. You can hear it on camera all the time, and whatnot. So, speaking of Josh, is he still running for office?
Is he running for office?
You didn't know that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's running for, I can't remember if it's government official or something up there in Iowa. So
I think so.
Yeah.
I thought I read that.
Yeah. It's funny.
Oh, Lord.
I know,
I need
right?
to get me a political sign from him. That's hilarious.
For sure, yeah, definitely. That's hilarious, yeah. So, yeah, when he promotes it, I try to jump on there and, support it as much as I can. So, yeah. So, Josh Hurd for, I think it's city office or something like that.
Wow.
That's
all
funny.
right.
I know, right?
Can you do a mailing from out of state?
I'm sure you could. What is this, Florida?
I'll try and get something in there.
You're right. That's awesome.
Isn't that why they call it mail-in, right?
Sure.
Mail it from anywhere for anything.
I think so. Yep. Even Russia. Wait a minute. I'm just kidding.
Right.
Joking. Anyways, so no, it's been fun talking with you guys. Like I said, it's been good. This is, like I said, the first appearance from Apex Paranormal. Ed Lauder, Shannon Johnson. We'd love to have you guys come back on anytime you want. Anytime you have any events you want to promote or just to shoot the breeze, whatever you want to do, we'll definitely have you on. We got about a couple minutes left of the show.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and then definitely want to trade out some places. Like I said, you guys come down here to Wichita, we'll take you around and get you in some locations. And Dodge City.
Dodge City.
Yep.
Dodge City.
Yep, we got.
I'm telling you.
Cool.
I'll come down by myself if they don't want to come.
Hey, that's all right.
I'm all into this, Western history.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
Dodge City was the place of wildness back in the West when,
Oh,
I mean, I play cards, but I couldn't believe that this is what these guys did with their paychecks and what these guys did every day of their lives.
Yeah.
How that meant so much. I mean, I played big hands for tournamentally. I don't play cash, and this is another thing. These guys are playing cash. They were real gamblers. I mean, their whole paycheck is what they're gambling with on some crazy night. And a lot of the, Bat Masterson and White Earp and Wild Bill all were, kind of in the law, but they were renowned gamblers and things like that, would just be in the gambling halls and stuff like that constantly. So I just think that's an interesting. I'm too analytical to live my life that way, by far.
Yeah.
So, but I can appreciate somebody, I guess, who does in a weird way.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's my hometown, Dodge City. So yeah, I know the history through and through, and the fact we get to go and investigate all over it's awesome to me. So yeah, we'll definitely take you out there and show you the rounds because there's so many places, and that's the same thing about here in Wichita. Wichita is also the same. It's known for its tie into Dodge City. The whole cow. They have a cow town down here. They have all different things, and the Old West down here too. So kind of goes hand in hand for sure. So. Awesome. Well, I think it's about that time. Any final parting words from anybody?
For
Jason,
Ed, do you mind if I send you some pictures of some of the stuff that we've caught while out doing some Sasquatch?
Oh, that'd be great, man.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Just to kind of see what you think and everything.
Yeah, we wear many hats for the team. like I said, we're Everyday Legacy Paranormal, which is the ghost hunting side of things for public and private homes and businesses. We're also Road Trip Paranormal, which is the entertainment side. We do the public ghost investigations, ghost tours, and things like that,
Yeah.
and speaking engagements. We're also part of Bigfoot in Kansas, which we were up at KC Paracon last year promoting, and so we do the Sasquatch things too. And then
We went to North Carolina last year for it. And
Bigfoot hunting.
it was pretty awesome. We were invited out there. Man, they had like, I think they had like 46,000 people
Yeah.
out there last year
Yeah.
for
What?
it. It was amazing. Yeah, the 2019 what was it called? WC North Carolina
WNC Bigfoot Festival.
Bigfoot conference. Yeah, it was amazing. That
Yeah.
one of the guys from Bigfoot and
BFR.
Bigfooting from BFRO was there.
Matt
They had
Moneymaker.
everything. I mean, the whole town embraces the Bigfoot thing.
Was it
It was
Matt?
amazing.
Jason, do you remember? Was it Matt Moneymaker or was it Cliff? It was Cliff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Cliff.
Yeah.
Cliff
Yeah.
was there.
Cliff was there, yeah, from
Yeah.
BFRO.
He was
What
doing
town
like
in
a
North Carolina?
Yeah. Oh, what town?
Marion.
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 Yeah, Marion, North Carolina.
It's about an hour and a half
Just-
west of Charlotte. Is that right?
Yeah, but 30 minutes
30 minutes? Okay.
east of Asheville.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Up in the mountains. Yep. So, yeah.
Smokies are really beautiful. I've driven through there a couple times. It's really nice.
Very nice.
Met a lot of people that claimed that they could take you out like right then and there and just wait that evening and you'd see Sasquatch. That's what
No
they
way.
claim. That's what they claim.
Claim,
So
yeah.
no,
Very
I
cool.
could. We didn't have time to do it. So we had to come back to Kansas,
Yeah, yeah.
But I want to get back out there. I got their contact, so if I could drive back out there again, I'll do it.
You got to follow me this time and go back with me to Bell Witch.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, that's right. You
that's
stopped
it.
at the Witch
Yeah,
on
that's
the way.
it.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
That's another place we've never been. We've never been there.
Oh, it's crazy.
I want to go.
I did too. I didn't get a chance
Yeah.
to go with these
Dan
guys.
and Jake did it. The rest of us didn't get a chance to.
And they caught some interesting things in there in that cave itself. I mean, just some light phenomenon that, unbeknownst to them, was happening. And they showed the owner, and basically, owner's like, "Oh yeah, that's something that happens here regularly." So it's pretty wild stuff. And we caught an apparition possibly in there too in that same picture. So
Yeah.
Really?
yeah, I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, that's a place I definitely
So
want
you're
to
catching that still picture wise or video?
Still,
Still, yeah.
we did get one. We did get one in a cell phone camera video as well, but they appear to be portals. I mean, the light, the way the beams come down, blue beams. It was so interesting. I mean, there's no light in the cave.
In the cave.
In the cave, yeah, back by where they had the burial plots. We were below the mound where the burial plots were, and we just caught these lights right on the wall. Yeah, so yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Beautiful
There are,
cave,
there
though.
are some insects and things like that that have bioluminescence. But I mean, this bioluminescence would be on the entire time.
yeah.
There's not a whole lot of flickering or a beam of light. It'd be more like illuminating its, the circumference of its body
Right.
or whatever. It wouldn't illuminate anything.
Yeah, this
So,
was Florida,
wow, that's
floor to
damn
ceiling, wasn't
interesting.
it?
Okay.
Yeah,
Dan, it was floor to ceiling, so it was like a solid
floor to
beam,
ceiling, exactly.
solid
Yeah,
beam that doesn't make sense.
Like a beam, floor to ceiling, straight up
yeah,
like that.
yeah. It appeared to be like a beam 3 to 4 inches wide, and then a space, and then the other one was probably 9 to 10 inches wide, give or take. Both of them parallel, straight down.
And it's something the owner claims to see before, so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Huh.
And then they
You
claimed-
guys, were you guys in complete darkness at the time? Do you have any other equipment going or anything like that?
No, they didn't allow us to have any equipment in there because, yeah,
Okay.
after the Ghost Adventures fiasco. So, yeah.
Okay. No, another thing is there's rocks sometimes and minerals that will give off give off light, but you have to have a light source to shine on it before it would illuminate its light back. So again, my brain works with this stuff, and that's why it's paranormal. I wrestle with it, and it wins, and then I have to go, damn, now I'm really interested. You know?
It makes me wonder, is that kind of the same light they see down at Board Camp Crystal Mine in Arkansas? Because they're seeing a blue illumination, but that, or more whitish, I think, but that's kind of up in the tree line, isn't it? It's not the actual crystals, is it? Do you know, Dan?
That I do not know. I mean, I know, they catch it through the trees and down to the ground, but it never actually hits the ground. It's just above. Yeah. That shoots down.
And that's another thing that
Arkansas.
You want to go? I want to go there because it's a everything kind of place. You've got everything under the sun kind of happening there. It's kind of wild.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yep, definitely. So, yeah, very cool, guys. No, like I said, thank you guys for coming on. Once again, this is with Ed Lauder, Shannon Johnson of Apex Paranormal, based out of Kansas City, but they kind of spread outwards. I know there's people in, like you said, St. Louis.
All over.
There's people. There's somebody in Iowa or somewhere in that area. I know you guys are looking around for other areas. I saw possibly. Am I saying that wrong? I know for sure Kansas City is your main hub.
You're making it up again, Leo.
Probably. God, I'm making up all night. I promise this is not what happens normally. It's just tonight. It's a special night. So
I don't know that we're not really wanting to expand anymore. I don't think. I think that was a part of our evolution. I don't know that we're one to really expand anymore at this time. I don't think. But I know at one time we definitely did, you know, and that was an idea. And I think we just decided to concentrate on what we're really doing here and just try and refine that and get as good as we can at investigating and capturing evidence and then doing a good production, you know, and getting out there and doing fun and interesting things. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool, guys. Well, everybody, it's after 9, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Once again, we want to thank our special guests, Ed Lauder, Shannon Johnson of Apex. They'll definitely, hopefully, make a return appearance sooner or later and bring other people, too, if they want to come on, other teammates. How many of you guys are there for Apex, by the way? I guess we never asked that question. Like, how big is your team?
There's 6. I'm like trying to count.
I know, right?
In my head. 64, 5. Yeah, 6.
Yeah, 6. We kind of have some reserve, you know. What would you say? Mainly, there's 4 of us.
There's mainly 5 of us, and then we have Maddie, who's Eliza's daughter, and she joins us on occasion. She's currently in college, so when she's able to make it, she does. But yeah, there's predominantly 5 that are usually involved, predominantly with all of our locations in our episodes.
Oh wow, very cool.
Okay.
Yeah, see, we're anywhere from.
Yep.
On the average, about 8, but we also had as high as 12, so I know how it is. It's a lot to manage, so.
It boils down to some of those darn expensive places you want to go to, you know, or a big place, and you're like, here's this giant place. Well, there's only 4 of us.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? You know, how do you cover it really well?
You have fun.
Yeah.
Because we've been in a couple places that are large, and there was only 3 of us to be able to make it. And man, we caught some of our best evidence there because it wasn't contaminated. So it was pretty awesome actually. But then the downside is how much did we miss because we only had 3 people on this large location, you know?
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
That's when you go back with your entire team later.
Exactly. Yep. So definitely. Well, thank you guys for joining this evening.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Definitely. And
thanks for having us on.
Make sure you check out Apex Paranormal on Facebook. It's facebook.com/the Apex Paranormal. On YouTube, you guys go ahead and shout it out. What is it? Is it just Apex Paranormal? Is that what it is?
It's Apex Paranormal to catch all of our Apex Chronicle episodes. But make sure you subscribe to our channel so that way you get alerts whenever we have a new episode air.
Sounds familiar. That's what we would tell people on this
Which
channel.
will be coming up. Garnett's coming up.
Very cool.
Sorry, that's my dog.
That's okay.
Demon.
Very cool. You're right. All right, guys. Thank you again for this evening. This has been episode 116 of the Cryptic Heartland podcast featuring Apex Paranormal. We'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Night.
See you guys.
All right.